Why perfectionists struggle with decision making and how we can reverse it. Hi, I'm Vassia. I'm a psychologist. I'm a perfectionism expert and I'm a passionate advocate for personal growth and including decision making, right? And all this I draw from my studies and trainings in psychology, but also I derive these insights from my own personal experience, from my personal experience as a recovering perfectionist. First of all, let's explore why it's difficult for a perfectionist to make a decision. When I ask people, the first thing that they say to me is, because I'm afraid of making the wrong decisions. Duh, obviously, right? Yes, that's the obvious reason. But let me get a little bit deeper into that. What we call this, the making the wrong decision, is the fear of failure, what we call fear of failure, right? And the fear of failure is actually related, highly related with a specific way of thinking, the all or nothing thinking. A perfectionist is not only afraid that they will fail, they are afraid that if they don't make the best decision, they're actually making the worst. It's either or, it's all or nothing, it's black or white. And that distorted thinking is what makes the decision making even more difficult. This is when we are scared because anything less than the perfect is a failure. And what are the chances? Of course, huge, because perfection doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, then all our solutions and choices are going to fail. So that's one main reason, fear of failure and the all or nothing thinking. For example, you can see that when, for example, somebody wants to start a blog, that's an example. And what they're thinking is that either I'm going to start a very successful blog or I am going to just write about nothing, or people will laugh at me for all the things that I'm sharing there in my blog. Another reason why perfectionism makes decision making difficult is the overanalyzing. A perfectionist will spend a lot of time calculating the pros and cons. They will also ask other people's opinions. What do you think? What are the pros and cons? And they will keep adding to this endless list of pros and cons. However, you can fill in this list with as many pros and cons as you want. However, it will never be complete because the difference is our own values. And that's what we will talk next when we will try to reverse this perfectionistic thinking. So, what's missing from these lists is what I consider as important. We're just accumulating pros and cons and bullet points, etc. And all these overanalyzing just keeps us in this mindset of stress, a mindset of what if it goes wrong. Another reason that perfectionism sabotages decision making is the comparisons with others. You want to start playing the guitar, for example, and the reason you want to do it is because somebody else is very successful with the guitar playing. And you're looking up to this person, of course, that's fantastic. But then, is that the only reason why we want to try something? Why we want to make a decision? That's the reason why we don't want to make the decision, because it's somebody else's and not ours. Also, comparisons with others um, enlarge the gap between where we are and where we want to be, and that creates overwhelm. We are constantly thinking, how am I going to make all these million steps that this person has done and they are here while I'm still here? And of course, this overwhelm brings the analysis paralysis that you know already. Yeah? We are already frozen in just the possibility of all this hard work that we need to put. Another reason, and I think that says a lot about perfectionism, is that a perfectionist is afraid of regretting the decision. I want to make a decision that I will not regret in the future. Is that realistic? No. First of all, because we don't know who we're going to be in the future. You want to make a decision now, for example, a career decision or a life decision now, based on the needs, the values, and the goals you have now. We never know who we will be in 5 years or 10 years from now. And I'm not talking about personality wise, I'm talking about goals, needs, and values. Maybe you will have different needs in 5 or 10 years from now. We don't know that. And that's a cognitive distortion we call in psychology, we call it predicting the future. A perfectionist wants the safety and the control, that my future will be safe. I want to make sure that I will be in good hands in the future. But we cannot control that. We can never be certain about that. That's a very useless thinking, spending all this mental energy thinking about the future while we have no clue. Maybe we can have just a tiny idea of the direction that we want to go in the future, but we have no clue how the actual future will be. Even people say that, I want to buy a house because this is what I need and I will always need in my life. We don't know. Maybe you want a quiet neighborhood now, but you don't know whether in 5 or 10 years you will want another neighborhood. So, whatever decision you are trying to make, buying a house, getting married, getting the promotion, whatever decision, it's based on the needs we have now. So, how can we reverse that? First of all, I already mentioned that before when I was talking about overanalyzing in the pros and cons. Values. Values means, what is it that you consider as important? What is it that gives you joy and you need at this point of your life? Values can make a big difference in the decision making. Like, for example, I remember a couple of years ago when I was talking to a client of mine who had a very good opportunity, job opportunity, and he was wondering whether he should take that opportunity or keep the job that he had now. He kept, measuring and comparing and pros and cons and lists, etc. However, when we stopped looking at the options but started looking inside the person and the needs and the values that they had, the decision was crystal clear, clear as day. Yeah? Because they figured out that their values that align with the values that align with only one option are the ones that they will give them the decision. They will give them the answer to the decision making. So the one opportunity, the job opportunity, was about adventure, learning, growth, progressing in the company. And the other, not the opportunity, but the position that they had now was more about safety and stability. So when we stopped looking at these options and we looked at what this person wanted in their life, he actually told me that, Vasya, I am at this age in my life that I don't want any more growth. I had enough growth in my career. Actually, I don't want more, even though I'm tempted by the suggestion, by the money, by the glamour of the new position. Actually, no, I don't want that. I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy my family. I want to rest. I want really to go back studying something that is my hobby, not related to my career. So, yeah, indeed, that's clear that the decision is the one decision is really me, but the other one is not me at this point of my life. So prioritize your values, identify your core values, and what is it that truly matters in your life. The other thing that helps is when we focus on the present moment rather than the future. We said that already about regrets. Focus on the now. Don't think about what you will want in the future, because as you said, you never know what will happen in the future. Focus on what you want now, and also focus on whether you can enjoy making that decision, enjoy the growth, and I'm going to say the cliche, enjoy the journey, but not focus so much on the results. Playing the guitar and watching your friend playing the guitar may inspire you and motivate you for sure. But at the same time, don't let that discourage you, because you see all these things, all the mistakes you're doing, and all the steps that you need to do. No, just enjoy, being a beginner, making mistakes, having fun with these mistakes. Just stay in this perfect, pun intended, perfect moment of being a beginner and enjoying the fact that nobody has high expectations from you more than you have, right? So um, focus on the joy and the growth and not the result. Learn how to embrace the mistakes and break down these decisions into smaller decisions. Like, if, for example, you want to start writing a book and you are wondering whether I should write a book or not write a book, am I an author or am I not an author? Just break it down. Let's start writing blog articles. Let's start writing posts on LinkedIn, for example, with my perspective. And then I can see whether I enjoy writing, whether I can grow my writing skills, and then I can make a more mindful decision about whether I want to be a writer or not. And last but not least, what I want to say is that, of course, we're learning to embrace perfectionism every day. It's not something that you will hear today and then tomorrow you're done and you don't need to work with that. We're learning and we're working with perfectionism, with this negative and self sabotaging mindset every day. And one of the things we're doing is learning that regrets, failure, mistakes is just a matter of perspective. Even if you think that in the future you're going to regret a decision, it's a matter of how you see that decision. Even though you change your mind in 5 years from now, instead of saying I regret making that decision 5 years ago, you can choose to say I now want something different. I don't regret that decision because back then it was who I was and what I wanted, and it served me best at that moment of my life, even though now I want something different. I learned, I grew, I learned through my mistakes. I became a better person because of that decision, even though it happened through mistakes, even though I could have decided something better back then. It doesn't matter. Regrets and failure and mistakes is a matter of perspective. And that's what we're trying to change with perfection. We try to change this negative and very stressful and very self-critical perspective. That was it. I hope it was useful. I hope it made sense. I hope you got some useful insights. I would like to share with you my guide. How much of a perfectionist are you? It's a free guide just to see the 20 features of perfectionism, to get a good grasp of what it is, and you can actually score your features of perfectionism. And once you have that, you can take the next step in order to reverse perfectionism, not completely eradicate it. That's not possible. Once a perfectionist, always a perfectionist. But to go from the toxic perfectionist to the healthy perfectionist. That's what we want. We keep the strive for excellence, but we leave behind the self criticism and the self blame and the lack of self acceptance. I hope it was useful. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. Feel free to add your comments and your questions. Have a good day and take good care of yourself.